Pat Walker here with Mission Winners. It is Sunday and once again time to dive into the ETFs and MAXLIST stocks. Okay, and you can always see the ticker symbol in the upper corners here, okay? ARK Innovation. You can punch up ARKK and find out their top 10 holdings, okay? You can guess what it's related to with technology. You can see the clean tops across here, and I'll show you on the daily and on the weekly. Going across here, there we go. Same line, folks, same line. Just take out these tops. What does this need to do? It needs to take out these tops, and it needs to take it out with volume. We'll have to watch it and see what happens, okay? Right now, it's kind of choppy. It's really nothing special to do with it, so I really wouldn't have it on the front page at this point in time. Continue onwards. ARKW is a little bit better. ARK, next generation internet. You can see these tops across right here, and I'll draw the line. This is the same line here, by the way, okay? And here is the daily. There you go. Take out these tops, and it needs to do it with volume. We'll put it over there. There we go. I want us to see the data. Okay, I think that's important. So clean base here. It needs to take that out. It needs to take it out with volume. Okay, on ARKW. Continue onward. Biotechnology. What does this tell us? Stay away from biotech stocks. That's all. It's not that involved, folks. This isn't calculus. It's simple. It's not there. Leave it alone. Nothing to do with biotech. Stay away. Cloud computing's picking up here a little bit. See some strength here on the weekly and on the daily. So what does that tell you? Maybe looking at some cloud computing stocks. Now, you could say, well, let's buy CLOU. It's a little bit extended in price, so be careful buying this. But there's probably some strength, I'm sure there is, in some cloud computing stocks. You say, how can I find that out? Just Google CLOU, top 10 holdings, and there they are. They'll come up for you. And this is a very important foundation. Strength begets strength. Weakness begets weakness. Key on, focus on strength. It will really help you. There you go on cloud computing. Let's move onwards. By the way, again, these are sorted alphabetically, just to let you know. It's no other special rank. Energy, kind of chopping around here a little bit. Fell on fairly heavy volume here, kind of loose. Be a little careful with that at this point in time with energy, okay? First Trust Internet, grinding up. That's why we're involved in some technology. And you can see it's been trending up. Is there a clean entry on it? No. But what has it told us for a while? There's strength in internet stocks. There you go. In technology. That's good to know. Let's move on. IBD 50, starting to show some strength here. That's a good proxy. The IBD 50 is a good list of stocks. This is kind of grinding up. Now, is there a clean entry on it? Not really. It is showing some strength. But notice it fell on fairly heavy volume on Thursday and it rallied back up on Friday. But look, there's no volume. So just something to say, be careful here with that type of investment. Gold's picking up here, gold miners, but it's kind of choppy, sloppy. Be a little cautious with that on gold miners. Weekly doesn't look too bad though. Here's what I'd like is if this could base for a couple of days and then take off, that would be nice. We'll move on. Junior gold miners, yeah, that's kind of going up too. All right, you can see some tops here and I'll draw something for you to help you. By the way, you can look for some of the leading stocks that ETF owns, or you can just buy the ETF, which is great too. Notice this though, it rallies right back up to the old resistance and backs off. What does that tell us? There's a seller there. So we have to take that out. There you go. Gold picking up a little bit, bouncing here. I'd like this to base and go higher. Or, we own it from off this line, or we'd like to just see it keep going. By the way, you see this base down here? We own it down there. We were buying it down there, and it's working. There we go. Let's move on. Hack, cybersecurity. Look at that little shelf right there, folks. I'll draw this to help you. Just a simple flat base, folks. It's nothing fancy. Had a volume pickup on that bar. You can say, well, it wasn't that much. On this bar, the stock did volume right there of 34,300 shares. 400, we'll say. On this bar, it did 81,000 shares, more than double. There you go. And sometimes this is a great tactic. It's, I can't really tell. This is what you can do. Spread the chart out, and then you can see the volume better. Okay. And that's just a hotkey on my computer keyboard. You have one too. I know you do. So just find out what it is. It can just help in chart analysis. Just want to share that. Biotechnology, stay away from it. There's not a lot of power there. It did lift off a little bit. If it starts to base across here, okay, maybe a potential. And it did have good volume, but it made a big move just to get here. Exhausted some energy. Be nice to base sideways, and I'll draw this to help. And by the way, I'm not saying this is going to happen, okay? Or perhaps it will. If this could go sideways a couple of days and take that out, might be an opportunity. Let's move on. Online retail steadily grinding up. Look at that. You can punch up IBUY and find out what their holdings are, but it tells us something here. I'm not saying buy this because it doesn't trade much volume, but it does guide you. It did guide you into looking into online retail stocks. Companies like Amazon, etc. There you go, IBUY. Continue onwards. IEO and oil and gas kind of choppy here. Look at it, lift it up, but not on really heavy volume. Then they take it down on heavy volume, a little bit loose. Got to watch that. Be careful with energy. Continue onwards. Software, by the way, that could improve this week. All right, so it's something to keep an eye on. Just to let you know my tactic, I go through the ETFs every day after the close. How long does it take? Gosh, it must take 2 to 4 minutes. That's all. That's all. Doesn't take much time, but it helps frame up where there's strength, but also weakness, areas to look into, areas to avoid. Software technology. See how this has been steadily grinding up? What has it been telling us? Oh, you might want to own some technology and software stocks. And we do. It was telling us to. That's simple. IHI, medicine, kind of choppy, leave it alone. Mid cap picking up a little bit. See that? This is the mid cap, one of the mid cap ETFs. And it's not a lot of volume here, but it's acting fine. What has it been telling us on the weekly and the daily? Hey, you might want to look into some mid cap stocks too. There you go. Systematize really works. Let's continue onwards here. Aerospace and defense, these are tops across here. Started to pull back a little bit. Let it base out, and if it starts to take out these highs, and I'll draw this for you. We always have a plan. And here we go. And that's close enough. Take that out. Could be a potential buy. Right now, there's no real clean entry on it, on ITA. Move on. ITB, home construction, still kind of lagging. Some selling in there. Just be a little cautious with that group at this point in time. S&P 500 growth. Look at that. Do we own growth stocks? Yes, we do. Why? It was telling us to. Also, if you notice, on the weekly, this kind of formed a couple with a handle. Okay, so it gives us the green light that, hey, it's okay to buy big growth stocks. There you go. But remember, it also, that each stock has to make the grade as far as a good base, good charts, good price and volume action. Okay? And good numbers. Good numbers. I will tell you this, most of my screens, I have a composite rating set at 88 or higher. There's a lot of work in that composite rating. I'm giving you a gift. There you go. Continue onwards. IWM's picking up here a little bit. There's no real clean entry on it, but it does show some strength that money's starting to flow into small cap stocks too. That's good to know. The rally's spreading out. IYR, real estate, stay away. Done. IYT, transports took off. There must have been news on one stock. I'm not sure. That's a good lift right there, folks. What does that tell us? There's strength in various sectors, including transportation. Tells us the economy's okay. Good volume pickup. No clean entry on it at this time, but it does tell us, again, there's strength in various sectors in the market, and we like that. Jets this is the weekly, has a base across here. You can see, take this out with volume is what you'll look for across this top. And I'll show you right here, just so we're all together. There you go. It needs to take that out with volume. And in all instances, team, and this is for everybody, and a good market. Always, the M and Mission winners. Regional bank, our banks, a little sloppy here. Okay, not a lot of power. Now we refreshed it. There we go. Whole different story. That's why I hit the refresh button. Look at what it did on Friday and look at the volume pickup. That's constructive. You can say, gosh, I could buy that there. Put it in perspective. It made a big move just to get to the pivot. It would be nice if it rallies up near this line here. And here's what I'll do to help. I'll just continue this for you. That's close enough. Needs to push through that line with volume. But note, it had to move up a lot just to get to that point. All right. The best thing you could do is to form a handle. That gets rid of some of the sellers. That is why, from a psychological perspective, team, cups with handles are a viable investing tactic to use. And yeah, I taught it at the IB meetups for a year, 12 years I taught it on the stage. It works, but clean and simple flat bases do too, let me tell you. Insurance starts to lift up, breaks out. Here's a great lesson for you, okay? Watch this. Well, it's going sideways. Yeah, I can see these tops here. I guess if it takes that out, which corresponds to right here, maybe if it takes that line out, go across here, and I'll draw this for you to help you. A downward sloping line, but close enough. Takes that out with volume. Oh, that'd be maybe a buy. Well, I messed that up, didn't I? There you go. Oh, look, it breaks out. There's no real volume on this. Look at that. It's a little bit more than these two bars, but it's less than this bar. There's not a lot of power. Volume equal power. What does that tell you? I don't think I'd buy it. Well, look what it does the next day. You know what they call that in a business? It's called a haircut. I can say that. Okay. Anyway, no good. Leave it alone. Let's continue on. Regional banks is choppy here. There's no, clean spot until it starts to take this out. Now, what's the risk? Gosh, it's going to take a lot of power just to get up to that line. All right. Could be met with sellers. So be a little cautious, but it does say that the rally is improving. And regional banks. It's nice to see banks get involved with it. Continue onwards. Mid cap. Look at that. Going through those tops with a volume pickup. What does that tell us? This is why I love looking at the big index ETFs. Okay. I don't care about the diamonds, but I love the spiders. I love SSO. I love QQQ. I love QLD. I love IWM. I love MDY. Those are really great measurements of strength or weakness in the broad markets. And it really helps us. This is picking up here. It tells us mid caps, they're starting to pick up a bit. That's good to see. You can say, well, could I buy this? Yeah, it's a little bit extended. Be careful with it. But it also says you could look at some mid cap stocks. I'll move on here. I don't want to go too far for you on this. Home builders lagging at this point in time. No real clean entry. Be careful with that. Oil services picking up a bit choppy. Be careful. Pharmaceuticals lagging. Stay away. That's it. It's done. Oh, maybe this is the bottom. Why play the maybe game? We can buy strength, stuff that's already strong. That's good to remember. NASDAQ 100. I like this. I already drew it here. And the team knows all about this. And then there's another line right there across those tops. What do you want to see? Take out these tops with volume. This is the NASDAQ 100 ETF, folks. That's good. If this starts to lift, there's big money flows into the NASDAQ 100 names. Okay, there you go. Good to use, good to know. And we share these things. QQQ, same situation, the non-leveraged one. RTH picking up a little bit. That tells us, we can look into retailers. There you go. Cloud computing's picking up. Look at, and I'll show you right here. This is a good education. Again, at Mission Winners, we don't just give ideas, we educate why. There's the power, knowing the why. And see the base? See the volume pick up on that bar when it lifted off? Check that out. Watch this. I'll slide this back. It's like, it's just kind of going sideways. I guess if it takes out that line, boom, and look at the volume pickup. As I say again, people talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. Folks, they voted. That's the stuff we look at. That's SKYY. All right. Refresh that. Let's move on. Silver, SLV. Like kind of sloppy here. Okay. Just a little too loose. Fell on heavy volume. Be careful with silver. There you go. Move on. SLX. Ooh, that was great, wasn't it? There we go. SLX. Steel. Also choppy. Choppy. Gaps up, gaps down, gaps down. It's just choppy and sloppy here. You're not going to see this in any chart book saying, this is what you look for to buy. No. So avoid the steal for right now. Not clean enough. Semiconductors picking up a little bit. I like the base on the weekly. Across here, I like the base on the daily. Picking up. Now, what does that tell us? Maybe buy SMH or some semiconductor stocks. Leading semiconductor stocks. There you go. Let's continue onwards. This is another semiconductor, the Direxion, okay? It's a little choppier, okay? But it's acting okay, just okay. Spider's picking up a little bit. Look at that. What's it been telling us? Hey, you might want to look at some S&P 500 stocks. Yes, we have. We've been buying them. Right now, I think in total, with all of us combined together, the team, myself, I think we own around 25 or 26 stocks, okay? Now, let me clarify. Nobody owns 25 or 26 stocks. At least I hope not. I don't own 25 or 26 stocks. Don't do that to yourself, okay? Buy the best of the best. And just to give you a guideline, I'd say the maximum number of stocks to own, maximum, okay, 8 to 10, maximum, all right? I was running a ton of money through the crash of 87. Manage them. It'll help you. SSO's picking up. That's the leverage spiders. Tells us the rally's okay. TAN, what does that tell us? Stay away from solar stocks. And it's been telling you for a while on the daily. And look at the weekly. Look at the downtrend. What's that saying? Hey, you better stay away from solar stocks. There you go. Oh, here you go, okay? Dad humor. Stay away from solar stocks or you get burnt. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to say it. My kids would shake their heads. My grandkids would shake their heads. Okay, here we go. Leveraged ETF, TNA, small cap, picking up a little bit. No real clean entry at this point in time, but it doesn't look too bad as far as being above the moving averages. Oil's kind of moving around a little bit, but it doesn't look too bad. Aerospace and defense picking up. Had a decent day here on Friday. Not a lot of volume. Fell on fairly heavy volume on Thursday. You might punch up XAR and see what they own. Biotechnology, stay away. Home builders, a little sloppy here. Be careful with it. Materials, kind of sloppy too. Be careful with it. Communications, looks decent up here across this top. There's a lower level line, but we'll say there's a line right in here too. You could punch up XLC, find out what their holdings are, but it doesn't look too bad. There we go. Energy's kind of choppy here. Financials took off. Look at that. You see that? What's a big financial stock, folks? Big. What's the big financial stock? I'll show you in a second. XLI's picking up, industrial. Nice to see that in the rally. Technology's hanging in, doesn't look too bad. Consumer staples, stay away. Utilities, stay away. Healthcare, lagging, stay away. Consumer, a little choppier. Be a little cautious with that. Metals and mining picking up a little bit. This is why we look at weekly and daily. Look at the weekly. Big base here. You wouldn't see that on the daily, but when you have the two side by side, you see it, and that helps. Look into XME. There we go. Continue onwards. XOP, oil and gas, kind of choppy and sloppy. Be a little careful with that. Retail's choppy, lagging, leave it alone. Software. Yeah, are we involved with software stuff? Yeah, it's been telling us to. Looks good. Had a good day on Friday.
Hey there, traders. Owen here, bringing you to the very start of earnings season, which always brings fresh opportunities and challenges. Today, we're setting the stage for what lies ahead. With Alcoa traditionally marking the unofficial start of earnings season on Wednesday, October 16th, it's a pivotal time for anyone actively trading. Knowing when your stocks are set to report is not just good practice. It's essential for managing your portfolio effectively. Earnings reports are a powerful force in the market. They provide a snapshot of a company's health and can significantly impact stock prices. It's not just about whether a company beats or misses expectations, it's also about their forward guidance. Adjustments to guidance can have a profound effect on the movement of a stock as they signal the company's future prospects and can dramatically sway investor sentiment. That's why a firm strategy is crucial. Speaking of strategies, our key list has shown strong performance recently, leading many of us, including myself, to increase our market exposure. With the Market demonstrating strength, I've ramped up my activity, opening a good number of positions. An essential part of managing these investments is understanding the expected move for a stock, which can be derived from the options chain. The expected move is calculated using at-the-money options, giving us a gauge of the market's anticipated price movement post-earnings. This crucial piece of data helps us establish a risk profile, which then informs how many shares we can comfortably hold through the earnings announcements. It's about calculated risks, aligning our decisions with detailed market data rather than mere speculation. As we step into this earnings season, make sure to review your holdings and be aware of the upcoming reports. Whether you plan to hold through these reports or adjust your positions beforehand, ensure your decisions are deliberate and well-informed. Also, be sure to check out our lesson and podcast on mastering market conditions and smart exposure for more in-depth strategies and insights. This is Owen signing off. Stay sharp, stay informed, and let's navigate this earnings season with confidence and precision. Now let's hand it back over to Pat for a detailed analysis of our MAXLIST stocks.
Let's move on to the stocks. Apple is just basing here. There's a base right here, though, and I'll draw this to help you. Simple bases right there. Do you see that top? Well, guess what? It takes that out. Yeah, we'll be buying. If the market's okay, right? The M and mission winners, markets comes first. But it looks good. We'll watch this and see what happens. Oh, by the way, I hope you all have a great weekend too. Get away from this stuff too. Do other things and recharge. Amazon's starting to pick up. Pick some of this up, and it's working, as you can see. Low-level base right here, pushing through the 21-day and the ADMA. We'll watch it, and we'll see what happens. Continue onwards. Alibaba, this is Chinese related. Had a lot of gaps in it, okay? Big gap up right there. It wasn't really heavy volume. It's working, but there's no real clean entry on this here. I'll just tell you this. At this time, there's not a really clean entry. Also, a good lesson, be careful chasing price gaps. You know, you've got a price gap here, here. Be careful because just as easy as it goes up, it can also drop. Like right here, if you bought this up here at around 118, okay, 117.50, and then it's down here trading at a low of 106, that's called a haircut. You don't want to do that to yourself. All right, be careful with that. The moral of the story is this, and this is what we teach, and this is what I taught for years. This is what I did for years. Don't chase price. Buy close to the pivot, clean and simple basis, or don't buy at all, and that'll help you. Let's move on. BIDU's choppy also, a little loose here. Be careful of that. I wouldn't buy that. There's Google. Google started to lift up, and right here's a good lesson. It gapped up. Be careful buying gap ups. Runs up and closes below where it opened. You see that? There's the open and it's closed. You have to be careful with that. It's a little choppy here. There's no real clean entry on this at this point in time. However, it could push through across here. And I'm going to show you how that works. Get this right. And that's close enough right there. There you go. Needs to take out this line here. Just pretend this to be one long continuous line, okay? And I'll do this out of respect for you. Close enough. Needs to take that out. I'm going to be specific. It needs to take this line out with volume and a good market. Until then, be careful with the stock. It's that simple. Now that's the daily. Look at the weekly, what it did. It actually on the weekly fell on a slight pickup in volume, indicating institutional selling. This is why we use weekly and daily charts. It helps us. And if you noticed, there's no other special indicators on this. There's a tremendous amount of power in price and volume. There's tremendous amount of power in knowing how to read price and volume. And we teach that. We do that. And there's nothing fancy about it. You won't see any concept that I illustrate or show here that you'll go, that doesn't make sense. Study it. It makes sense. And yes, it works. It works. Continue onwards. Goldman Sachs picked up, gap up right here. See that clean and simple base? This was on the key list. And I'll show you. No, it's going sideways. Maybe if it takes that out. It's a MAXLIST stock, and it does on Friday, gaps up on heavy volume and takes off and closes near the highs. That's a good start. Yes, you see these lines? We're in it. And if it keeps going, takes out the highs of this bar with volume and a good market, we'll buy more. Now, you can say, well, what about buying up here an initial buy? We'll take a look, and this is why we look at weeklies and dailies. And I'll show you something here. These are real world tactics, folks. This isn't textbook stuff. You see that line right there? That's clean and simple tops. Take out this top here with good volume. That could be, well, it'll be an add-on for us, but it could also be a new buy if you don't own it. And this is the really powerful point here. Look at the volume pickup again on Friday. They voted. Volume tells us, I'll say it again, people talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. Right here, we go where they're voting. All right, that works. So we'll see what it does. Also, another very key point, this is for everybody, and I'm speaking from my heart. Please don't impose your will on the stocks and the charts. Please never argue with price, okay? I said this at IBD meetups for years. Every big loss starts out as a small loss. Manage to keep your losses small. Be disciplined with that. No day trading, no 5-minute charts, no in and out, no scalping. You will find clean and simple bases, and we talk a lot about it at Mission Winners. They're easy to see. Increases the odds other people see it, increases the odds they'll buy. And that is measured by price action backed by volume. There you go. Let's continue onwards. There's MasterCard. That doesn't look too bad. What do you notice here? Slight volume pickup on Friday. You see that? Look at that. Starts to take out these highs. Maybe that's a buy if the market's okay. And always, again, look for price and volume. Meta, we're in and it's working for us. This is the ADMA, that yellow line. Look at how it's trending up the 8. We're in good shape. There we go. Now, could it bounce off the 8? Yeah. And what will we do? We'll buy more. We'll add to it. Say it again. Rules of proper pyramiding. Whatever amount of shares you own, never buy that amount. Never pull your average price up too high. That's a real world lesson, okay? And just so you know, my only source of income for years, like probably 18, 20 years, maybe longer, was investing profits. Nothing else. You say, yeah, you had a wife who, she had a career, she was going to town. Yes, she was wonderful. Her career was raising a family of 4. So yeah, that was it. And I'm glad she did a great job, and it allowed me to do this. So there you go. Oh, by the way, what her job, as far as I'm concerned, her job was more important than mine. So there we go. Thankful. Microsoft's a little sloppy here. There's no real clean spots in this. Here's a great lesson for all of you. If you have to look for it, you got to make sure the clock's still running on this. If you have to look for it, it's probably not there. There's clean base right here, but right now it's choppy. Leave it alone. Netflix. Netflix started to go on Friday, gapped up, and then instantly started to fade. There's a valuable lesson. Be careful chasing gap ups. All right? Be careful. Be careful chasing gap ups, price gap ups, when it's a little bit extended. Okay? Did we buy it? No, we didn't. There we go. Is there any entry on it at this point in time? Not now, but eventually there might be. Continue onwards. NVDA. Do you see that clean and simple base on the daily? There you go. And you want to see something nice? Here's the weekly. And watch this. I'm just going to take that line off because now it's longer. There you go. It's just a simple base, folks. And it took off. And here's the daily so you can fine tune it. This line right here corresponds to that line right there. It's basically the same dang line. There it is. And it took off. People talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. Folks, they voted on that bar. Look, right there. See the volume pickup? We voted too, and we've added to it a couple of times. All right, now we watch and see what happens. If it forms another little shelf, we'll buy more. There we go. By the way, I'm going back to this. I encourage you, be careful buying up here. It's a little bit extended in price. Don't chase price, please. I'm asking you, buy close to the pivot or don't buy it at all. Chasing price is an emotional decision, and high emotions and good investing are mutually exclusive. There you go. Square or block. I still call this square. The VIPs are laughing, go, boy, you do, don't you? Anyway, yeah, it's because it was for years. But it's working for us. We're in good shape. We'll watch this and see what happens, okay? If it bases out and starts to lift up again, we'll buy more. We're fine. Just no clean entry right here, though, okay? Until it starts to power up with volume, then and only then. I'm just going to let these shares work. Tesla, no, we don't own it. This is important. I told the VIPs several times, Tesla has big news coming. Be careful with that. And well, you can see what it did, and I can take this off now because that's over. By the way, do you see this clean and simple base right here on the daily? And you see this clean and simple base here on the weekly? Yeah, right through there. We bought that there. Yeah, and it worked out great. But right now, we took it out. There's nothing to do with it at this point in time. The moral of the story is no big news stories when they're coming. Really no earnings news stories too. Know those dates. Also, most people don't know this. Some stocks report before the open. Be aware of that. It's a rude awakening to own a stock thinking, well, they report Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday morning, you come in and you go, that sucker's gapping down. What's the deal? Well, God, they reported earnings Tuesday morning. Know that. Very few companies report in the morning, but some do. More foreign companies do because of different time zones. Most people don't know that. Now you do. There we go. Let's move on. Visa, little sloppy, choppy here, but look at that's the weekly, 2 weeks of tops. Here's the daily. And again, we educated mission winners. I'll just draw this right here, and that's close enough. Simple flat base right there, folks, right? And what do you notice? Well, it closed near the highs on this bar. It closed near the highs on this bar. It closed near the highs on this bar. And slight volume pickup. But you can see these clean tops here. What do we need to see? Take out that line with volume. And again, we don't just give ideas, we educate why. Why do this? Why look at it? And always manage it. Never argue with price. Price pays. One slight negative, it did drop fairly hard here. Okay, so what do we need to see? With some volume, we need to see it pick up, lift through these tops in a good market, and pick up with volume. All right, team, that's our weekly review. Hope it helps you get a clearer picture of where the market's headed and what stocks to keep an eye on. By the way, don't forget about our weekly top stocks to have on your watch list video coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're curious about what we covered last week, you can find the link to that video in the top right corner. Remember, these watch list videos are just a small taste of what our VIP members get with the daily key list videos on missionwinners.com. So if you're serious about finding those super performance stocks, consider joining us. Now, I'm curious to hear from you. What are your thoughts on today's market review? Do you have any questions or concerns? Feel free to drop a comment below. I love hearing from you. Thanks for sticking around for the whole video. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And remember, stay sharp, keep learning, and keep finding those winners.